Hey guys, welcome to our podcast where it has to be said. I'm Denise.
And I'm Elinise.
So I'm here today with Ellie. For those who do not know, she is my 13-year-old daughter. And we are going to talk about how flexible I am as a parent.
So I want to start off how strict my parents are today.
Today, we're not that strict now. Okay, I'm sorry. Proceed.
Yes, and I think she is. But before you guys come at me, I know my mother does it because she wants to protect me, and it's because how she went through. She doesn't want those things for me. She wants to protect me just like her grandma did to her, and I understand that. But I'm gonna also want to do things at your age. Did you want to do some stuff too? That you wanted to go out with your friends?
Yeah, but it never happened.
Well, one thing is we are different. We are different.
Yeah.
So you don't always like being social. I like being social. I
Yeah,
like
that's
being
true.
around people. I feel more happy and energized when I am around people that I enjoy being with.
That's true.
So it's completely different, first of all, what we want to do as a kid. And since I want to go out so much and it just like sucks because I know I'm not able to, like sometimes I don't even ask anymore because it's just like I already know she's gonna say no. There's a 3-step procedure. First of all, 4, because we have to plan a few days ahead. It can't be just like, especially one-time things. Oh my god! Like I already know. Like if I beg her, like I'm scared to ask more than twice. If they say no the first time, the second time I'm already shaking, and like I have to first of all. I have to ask her a few days ahead. I have to plan it before a few days ahead. Bro, I'm not supposed to plan it. So it's supposed to magically happen because I'm not supposed to plan it. And then the parent has to call my parent because if we call them, that's like I don't know, their dignity, our ego is lost.
Not dignity, but it's like these kids be wanting to make these plans all the time. Like if they have money and they drive around. So I'm like, no, where's the parent? Who's the parent that's going to be present that can call and verify, hey, yeah, it's okay for Ellie to come with us to do this or whatever.
But why can't it just be like simple? Like you don't even have to call. Like some parents are just chill without even calling you. Text. Why don't text? Just text. It's so much more easier.
I think any parent that hears this has
And they need voice recognition, first of all.
voice recognition, first name, last name, where you live.
I gotta ask the kid what their parents' name is. So when my mom calls them, she could say the name.
Yeah, I have to refer them by name and like, who are you? If I'm gonna trust my child with you,
And a parent has to be there.
Because
And
she's
it
only gone
cannot
out like 3
no
times.
siblings. No siblings.
No. I didn't say that. I said you will stay like if you go to someone to visit a friend, it has to be a parent there, not their sibling supervising you guys.
Okay, but what if we're out movies and the siblings there?
Oh, and not the parent?
No. And their siblings over their 18. Exact. No.
That part is a little skeptical.
Exactly. And that kid could be innocent going to Harvard. It don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. So those are very, and she needs to know who's there. First of all, what if the parent's gonna leave once? We need to know what parent's gonna be there, the dad, the mom, how long they're gonna be there, who's picking me up, who's dropping me off. It's a very difficult process. Very. And I think it fears me to ask sometimes because I already know the answer is no, but I want it to be yes. Because there's that 10% possibility she says yes. And then 30% she says maybe, you know?
I said yes 2 weeks ago.
That was what? My 3rd time going out to a house that I've been there already.
Even worse, a house.
That I've been there already, by the way. And I came back perfectly fine. All limbs. And I think I came back better. And because I suntanned because it was the summer. I think I suntanned there. But I think I understand why she does it. But it just sometimes sucks because it's not even only that, but it be with social media too that I am very restricted. And I know I haven't done anything that bad. And
Screen
it's just
time, all that, right?
Screen time, yup. And I look at their kids, I'm like, dang, they do such bad stuff. And I'm I have really strict parents because how are they able to do that?
But you don't see it like because they have access to doing it is that they do it. So like if I give you that extra screen time, would you know
But
what I'm
how do
saying?
you know? Like, you can't just automatically think of the worst, because I understand there's like a 50% chance of me doing something bad
Yeah.
on that app. But what if there's 50% of chance me getting happier with the app, you know? You guys don't think about that, and it's a very good statistics in my head.
Oh yeah, in your
Yes. And I think that, and
at least data from 2023.
I understand like social media could really damage a kid, but can it really sometimes boost them? Because that's where everyone talks nowadays, and you're limiting people's social access with their other friends. Because then parents want their kids to have friends. They don't want us. They want us to be out. Sometimes I didn't even know she wanted me to FaceTime my friends, because I was scared to ask. Like, I would be in my apartment. I wouldn't even like when someone asked me to FaceTime. I wouldn't. No, because I was like, it's just that fear.
But we never denied you access
But
to
it's
FaceTime.
that wall that's there. That you can't feel it, but you know it's there.
You're like,
That's like
maybe
God. His presence. You might not see it, but it's there. I'm just saying, it really is. And it's just like, sometimes I think that affects us, because you are scared to ask anything and to open up, because you don't know how they're going to react. So, like, even if there was a problem to happen, you're scared that they're going to hit you or just like say something, scream at you because of how they already are, how you know they are. And the same way you guys have assumptions of us, we have assumptions of our parents that we already think they're going to do something because of their previous behavior. And sometimes parents can act different, but the same way with your kids, that your kids can do something you might not expect them to do, but they are not, they're going to change, because we are growing up, and we always blame it on puberty. But that is a big thing. We're going to want to experience new things in life. We're not going to be the same old kids that playing with toys and stuff. We are going to be on social media. And you have to be prepared for the battles that are going to come, but you have to make sure that you trust your kid and you give them that trust and that respect, because you know you're not going to put high assumptions of your child, but you can have a little faith that how you teach your child, they'll be okay in in life. But if you keep pulling them back because you're scared, they're never ever gonna grow, and they're never gonna be the best of themselves because you're too scared of what could happen when they try to do that.
Yeah. At least sounds like me telling my clients. So I'm almost like a hypocrite now that I think about it. Because I work with, youth at risk of trafficking and stuff. So, and I'm usually having this conversation with these parents like, oh, chill a little bit. And I mean, I think I have chilled a lot. As a family, we have had hiccups. Like our first like big moment was like Ellie was age 10 during COVID. And it kind of that at that point is I feel like we kind of shifted as parents that is like whatever
Yeah.
we were doing before is
Wasn't
not
it?
working and we have to change it, right? Because maybe it was working for you when you were younger, but now you were entering like this new phase and it was like
Because you
we
don't
need to
understand.
change.
You don't understand as a kid. You don't see when you get older, your eyes open more. Like, you see everything differently, and you understand like let's say when adults are making jokes, you understand them now.
Yeah.
Like, they can't hide it from you, but the same way that how the parents are, you see how they act. Like, I'm not saying you guys, but some
In
parents, when
general.
they're arguing, and you don't notice it much as a kid, but once you start getting older, that affects you a lot. And you're not a hypocrite for you with your like clients, but it's because they're in a different situation, so it doesn't apply to us. But it
Yeah.
really does, because that same thing could happen to us if we keep going the same footsteps.
Yeah.
Because those families were just like us probably, but something happened and boom. But we're having the same problems, but they might not be as big. But that situation could still happen to us, and even the actions, even like parents, they could change their actions a little bit, no matter, even if let's say I did something little, one of your clients did something big, even the parent, we got the same parent, even if it changes a little bit, it could change our actions and how we react.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of your clients, parents are similar, right? Their parents do the similar actions, how they treat their kid. But you guys can also do the same thing. Even though I understand that you guys try to be great parents, and I know that I have two lovely parents and they're not divorced, but they could still go through some stuff and they don't even have to have any of that, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think that one of the biggest things for us has been as or at least for me as a mom, I can't really speak for Elvis, but I think it's, and it's things that I speak to my clients about. We have gone as parents through certain traumas, certain experiences, right? And in my head is like, oh, I'm so focused in making sure Eddie doesn't have to go through this experience that I went through, right? Having her not to have to undergo this same trauma, and then also kind of expecting like, oh, because she's not going through this specific trauma, like I kind of minimize or don't see that whatever she may be going through is a big deal for her and is important to her. And I think that as parents, we need to stop comparing our experiences with theirs. There are certain things that don't change, right? There's certain moves and things that kids do of, challenging parents or kind of wanting to test waters and try new things. That's not nothing new, right? The Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun, but the times have changed, and I think that it takes acceptance to understand that times have changed and we have to kind of revamp a little bit how we're parenting. At least for Ellie, we got that since age 10. It's like we got to change it, and it took, every year, something would happen that we would have to revamp
Yeah.
and kind of tweak whatever we were doing.
But I think like I think it's also scary for the kid because like with me like every time something's good happening like you don't want anything to affect it because parents trust like can lose trust in an instant.
Anybody could lose
Anybody
trust.
could, but
Yeah.
it's same thing with kids. Kids could lose trust in their parents in an instant, and I don't think parents see that. And a lot of times that they think that their kid like has a home, they have food, they have water, they have juice, all of that, even snacks. Having snacks in the home is a privilege because I know a lot of parents weren't able to have that.
Yeah.
Actually, and I know you guys went through a lot in your childhood, but that doesn't mean us kids like we also experience things. It might be completely different than what you experienced, but we still went through it and it might have hit us hard. And it sucks because we're not able to talk about the same experiences, but you also should always be there for me. And like, not just because my things I went through weren't as big as yours, don't put it down. Don't make it seem like I should be happy because
Yeah.
I already have a good life, but I still have that stuff. Even if you guys are perfect parents, there's stuff going outside in the world that you have to be there for us because at the end of the day, we're just waiting for our parents' love and we want to be with you guys. But I don't think parents, they're like, they have such a high ego that they don't think they're doing anything wrong. And they think that they think their kids are innocent and they're innocent, like that they're good. But I think a lot of parents, their like one mistake is that they never check, like they don't check on their kids and they don't like try to listen to them. Because they have to understand not every kid is going to want to tell them what they did wrong. They're not going to want to tell them that they did this or they want to try this because they're scared of the restrictions they already have. Why would they want to tell them that when they already know how their parents are?
Yeah.
So they want that trust and that safety, knowing that if they tell their parents this, yes, they're not going to be happy, but they're not going to judge them or not want them anymore because they love them so much.
And what do you think is maybe, at least for you, what is something that you feel like is a struggle that maybe perhaps we may have overlooked at one point?
I think it's how like the kids are in school and like how they act towards us because you know it could actually hurt us what people say, and especially like even like how we are with ourselves because people, I think a lot of parents don't look at their kids' self-esteem. Like that's just nothing that really just it just crosses the mind. It's not something as important, but it really is because that's how a lot of people get depressed because of how they are in their mind and how they see themselves and view themselves. Because once they have low self-esteem and like they have no confidence in themselves, they're not gonna have any confidence when they're talking to others, or how they're not gonna have confidence that like their friends, they actually trust them or like them because they already don't like themselves and hate themselves. Why would other people like them? Because there's nothing good about them. So what's their good qualities that their friends would even like? and it just brings them down like really bad. And I think parents always, the one thing they always think is their fault. They always think it's their fault when something happens. But man, you yourself, didn't it say in the Bible that you're your biggest enemy?
I don't think it says
I
it.
think if like
You're like, if it doesn't say it, it should say that.
it should. It should. You are your biggest enemy,
Yeah.
and you could bring yourself down. So I feel like parents just like blaming on themselves is a little bit selfish too, because they need to put their child first. They're doing the same mistakes they were just doing that brought their child to this moment.
So one of the biggest battles is our mind.
Yeah.
Right? So I preach about it a lot as an adult, but you guys as growing children and teens go through those same mind struggles, right? You guys struggle about yourself. And I think parents should be aware of that. And I think it's important what you said about it not being like taking it like our fault. And I feel like it kind of goes in like how you were saying to the kind of the ego, or kind of like the I'm the adult, I know it all, and we misinterpret, right? So when you do something bad, it's like, oh, what did I do wrong? Or sometimes us, like as parents, sometimes we say, oh, well, I don't think I've said it, but I know parents that be like, oh, you don't love me, or do you even love me? Do you care for me? Then why are you doing this? Which is like what you just said is, mom, dad, is it's not about you. It's I'm going through this. Like I'm struggling with this. Like I probably don't even want to make this decision, but it just happened.
And some kids don't even think of it as wrong.
Yeah.
Because they were never taught that it was wrong. And especially the same thing that the parents never brought it up because they never thought their kids would do something like
Yeah.
that. And at the end of the day, they did. And no one was there. Like, especially a lot of kids, they see their parents doing it and they think it's okay. But it's not. And the parents don't tell them that it's not okay because they're showing them that it is okay because they're doing it right in front of them.
Yeah. So it's like, as much as I can tell you, don't do this, my actions are showing you.
Because you obviously can't stop doing it. So why do, like,
Mhm.
I have to stop myself from doing it?
Yeah.
And I'm younger too. So, man, I can't control myself because I'm younger.
Yeah.
And I think age plays a lot of part because a lot of people, they treat people differently because of their age. And parents could do the same mistake as their kids, but because they're older, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But your kid's doing the same thing and you're getting angry at them. You both need to correct something, but why can't you take accountability that you also made that same mistake? And it's the same way when parents are can't admit that they're wrong.
Yeah.
And they get upset when their kid can't admit that they're wrong. If you can't admit that you're like wrong, the genetics
how are
comes
you,
through, man.
how am I learning that?
It makes no sense.
So
and-
it's true.
It's upsetting. I think it's really like for me. I know it's upsetting.
Yeah. 'Cause I know we have conversations a lot about it, kind of like even like learning to kind of let Ellie be upset about something or bothered by something. Like if I tell her, okay, give me your phone, like I shouldn't expect her to be happy about it, you know? And the same way, like, you know, I like it's kind of hypocritical of me like to tell her to check her attitude with me, and as an adult, I can't check my attitude in situations, right? Or, you know, or anything in any type of example setting. Like I think we expect too much of our kids and teens. Like we expect them to operate like a full grown adult when sometimes we don't even act like a full grown adult.
It's true.
We sometimes act just as childish, sometimes even just as petty, and sometimes if not even worse because we're adults and should know better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we should give that same grace to our kids and be easy on them, because sometimes we place so much pressure on them not knowing what they may be going through, or sometimes we place so much pressure not knowing that the more pressure we're applying is really pulling them away from us. It's like, I don't want to be around you, or how can I trust you because I'm going to feel like you're judging me.
And it's the same way with kids too, like, and adults, because I know like parents, they lose trust like fast because of what they did, but kids could also lose trust, and the parents, they don't like to like own up to it because they don't own up to what they did wrong, and it just hurts like so bad because you can't, like, they get upset at you for those things and they don't fix it. And what
Yeah.
you were saying is like, I think a parent can also fix things. When a kid is going through something, and obviously the parent has something to do with it and why they were struggling, next time, instead of trying to take them to therapy and all that stuff, like that's like your first mindset, try to talk to them on what they could do better and fix it so it won't happen again, because you obviously don't want to see your child struggling like that, but you don't want to put them somewhere that they don't want to be just because you think it will help them. First, you should want to help them by fixing yourself, because if you're able to help your child, then it's better than any therapist can do, really.
Wow. And I think that um what you're saying is kind of like, sometimes we send our kids to therapy or to treatment centers or whatever the case, but if the environment at home is not changing, right? If that
They come back back
to the
back
same
to
place
it.
and kind of fall back into that same space.
It's the home that has to be fixed first.
So as parents, what Ellie is saying, that we should be the first safe space for our kids, right? I mean, ideally, yes. Are our kids is every kid gonna want to always be open and share everything? Maybe not, because some kids are more open than others. But being able to kind of be flexible and show that kid, like, I want to hear what you have to say. I've learned to like kind of tell Ellie now, like, I don't mind her telling me, calling me out on stuff, but just not being disrespectful about it, or not calling me out of my name. Like, don't say anything like vulgar or anything crazy, but like to be able to say like, oh, that's not fair. Like, if you want me to do this, but you can't even do this. So there has to be some accountability. And I think that as our children get older, we should give them that space to hold us also accountable as parents, because if they don't tell us, who's going to tell us? Because sometimes we don't even share with other people what we're going through with our kids. So we might not get someone else to tell us like, hey, you might have, like, you need to work on that. But hearing it from our kid, yeah, it might suck a little bit. You might feel like,
But it's better from hearing it from someone else, especially that you know them.
yeah, I would rather hear it from you than.
I mean, you shouldn't be afraid to know you messed up, because if you're always afraid that you mess up and you try to be perfect all the time, your kid does the same thing.
Yeah.
And you guys are both holding up each other to high standards just to break down, because at the end of the day, we're all going to mess up. But if you know how to build right back up, then you're okay. Because we're all going to go through, it's life. I'm not saying we're still going to have bumps. And I'm afraid that's going to happen, but it's life and I can't control it. It might not be a bump that I did. It might be something else, but I know if we're strong as a family and we know how to build up from it and we know how to build trust back, then we'll be okay. Because at the end of the day, nothing lasts forever, and you want to take advantage with your family as much as you can.
What do you think has helped us as a family?
I thank God. Like, I think it really did, because it's someone we could talk to that wasn't each other.
Okay.
And I think he told you a lot of stuff about me. I did not want her to know. Like, it's weird that he would talk to her and she would look like for something that was proof of it, and it'll be real.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he does that, bro. Like,
I remember that I remember driving one time, and God, the Holy Spirit was like, oh, pray, speak life over your daughters. And I was crying in the car, speaking and declaring life, like speaking life about her thoughts and just life, like for her to literally live. And then later on, we come to find out that she was struggling, emotionally. And, it impacted me. And I'm going to probably cry because it impacted me because I did what Ellie said in the beginning earlier. It's like, but what am I doing wrong? Like, I thought I was doing everything right. Yeah. And I made it about me, and I kind of overlooked that she was hurting, right? Whatever she was experiencing.
And it makes you hurt more when you see your parents like that.
Yeah, because I even cried, and I couldn't even help the tears, because I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was failing as a parent. And I think no parent wants to feel like a failure. But it's like what he's saying, it's not about you, right? Like when our kids are going through something, it's literally about them and trying to find a way to re-engage and build that trust again. And, I'm glad that, God has been a center and vital to our relationship. But I think also putting in the work with each other, it means
I
learning.
think we both tried a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have.
And I think parents also don't see that the kids try, because kids try a lot. They don't want their kids to be disappointed. I hate when the parents like they do it on purpose. Like no, we
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
Like I think anytime we do something wrong, they think we did it on purpose. No, we don't think about you in the moment. We don't. Like I don't think you're like the first
yeah,
thing that comes to mind at all.
yeah. So, it is a work in progress. And what do you think, like, for any parent hearing now, what is like like if this was one message important you wanted to give out to any parent listening, what would you want to say?
Um, have trust, and your trust might sometimes like break down, and some things might happen that you might start like the trust might leave, but always try to build it, because trust is like a big thing in families, and if you can't trust each other, you're not you're not gonna have a good home. But if you have trust, you are able to have a happy home.
Okay. And I think my biggest takeaway is, listen, things are going to happen. And, coming from a mom that was very strict, you know, we try to put our kids in a bubble to keep them from harm. But the reality is that we live in a fallen world where sin exists and malice exists. All we can do is trust that we've done the best we can. But more importantly, I would say trust God. Trust that God is going to look out for them, because they reaching a point as they get older that they have to learn from the decisions they make. And sometimes they might not be the best, but I just want Ellie to know, or like I'm sure you as a parent, like I'm here for you. And that when you do slip up, I'm still going to love you unconditionally. I might not like what you do, but that does not take away that I love you. And I think that's important. So I think, having that trust, like Ellie said, and communication, being able to hear the uncomfortable stuff and the things you don't like, that even about yourself, so that you can grow and admit when you are wrong and ask. I'd be asking Ellie, like, how can I be better as a parent? Because I don't know it all. I'm learning just as she's learning, especially her being my first child. We went through a lot of growth together, and I had to learn how to be a mom. She was learning how to be a kid and live in a life that she didn't ask to be in. And I want to do the best that I can so that she can grow to be a beautiful, independent, strong girl.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm emotional today. But any other takeaways?
No.
It was a good talk, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining. It has to be said. See you next time.